everybody. Welcome, welcome. Let me bring the music a little bit. Hey, once again. As time works, a month has passed, and we do have quite a few things to report on, to think about, to also tease. And today, we will be doing that in, a slightly reduced company because unfortunately Lysander is still indisposed, but that will not prevent us from sharing a lot of exciting things with you. So, without further ado, say hello to the one and only, the mastermind behind everything Chain Monsters and Tap Monsters, Max. Hello.
Hi everyone. Hey Olga. Hope everyone is
Hello.
doing fine.
Yes. As I mentioned, we're sad that we're not in the usual setup together, but I think it's also a good point to remind everyone to stay safe out there. There's some really, real nasty stuff going around there, so please take care of yourselves. Otherwise, your labs are gonna end up on fire with nobody to look after them. I assume. But yeah, woo! That's been quite a month, I would say. And we've had a lot of developments kind of building since then. A couple of new things happening. So I would first and foremost want to open with, I suppose a pretty standard question. Max, since the last 4 weeks, how are you feeling about where Chain Monsters and Tab Monsters are going? How the team is sort of progressing and evolving as well? What are your
Yeah.
thoughts?
I mean, there are a couple of different areas, and I believe we're going to touch base on most of them today as well. So first and foremost, of course, maybe Tap Monsters first. We are currently, still in the migration process, but
Mm-hmm.
we were able to extend the team there to basically, offer more opportunities, more mechanics and stuff together in this new engine. And again, maybe something that I did might or might not have mentioned last time. The reason why we went with the new engine is basically mostly technical and visual limitations. Because if you have a web application running, which is the technical basis for the current Tepons experience, then performance, if you want to do like actual game stuff, which we're now again working on, is a little bit, it's not that trivial, and it's actually really hard to do, especially to support like a wide range of players on across all kinds of devices.
Yeah.
Telegram runs on like devices that are like 6, 7, maybe even 8 years old, but like games and the technology required might not. So yeah, and so that's one of the main reasons. And I'm not sure if we shared some of the previews yet of the new
We
game, but
have.
okay, yeah. So that's good
And
because I
people love them.
that's good because this is like in case you haven't seen it, where can people find those in the Discord or on the Telegram channel? Were they posted somewhere?
Yes, they were on Twitter, on Discord, on Telegram. So anyone who's got any business knowing what it's gonna look like knows what it's gonna look like.
Yeah, that's awesome because what we shared so far is, of course, like a complete redesign, a cleanup, basically, of everything. And because we had a couple of, let's say, smaller scale issues over since we launched, because you as a community were rightful in complaining about like some UX issues. Some things were not explained explicitly. For example, you wanted to know, well, what is my daily chainmon limit, etc. So
Yeah.
all these things are now being addressed in this whole process, basically. And yeah, it was about time. So what we want to achieve with this step is making sure that we're future proof, that we can go crazy, go nuts on all the exciting mechanics, especially the battles, that we want to bring to the game, as well as having like a solid foundation for everything beyond that as well. And yeah, and in this regard, we have done great progress. I would say we are now on the finish line. We do have an internal schedule for the update, but I think just to be 100% sure, we don't want to communicate it as of now. But we are pretty much on the finish line, so you will be able to get your hands on the new version, where everything you used to, where that you achieved, that you grinded for, still exists. And because I remember that question from the last 1 or 2 streams, everything from your progression, your capture chain mods, everything, your level, everything is the same. It's we did it in a way that we only affected the visual of the game. So for you, it will just be a matter of one day you're logging in, and it will be a brand new experience. Basically, Tap Monsters pretty much 2.0, if you want to say that. But
Yeah, like a Christmas present. You go down.
a Christmas
you
present
discover
that comes early, because it's not
Yeah,
not
yeah,
for
yeah,
Christmas, right?
Well,
But
sure. I'm certain that we're gonna have something for Christmas as well to give to the people. But that is one of the biggest things that we've been trying to tackle, and for the team having basically gotten their hands on something like that for the first time, I think it's a very, very commendable kind of venture, especially to
Yeah.
have finished, to arrive to a finish line already. I know that we've been more optimistic with that at first, but considering with the additions to the team, it's good to hear that we will finally get our hands on Tap Monsters 2.0, as you said. There also have been, not only from the UX perspective, but also some of the other developments, I would say, because I keep seeing that every now and then there are a few smaller things surrounding the battle mechanics, for instance. There's also the external factors that are sort of affecting where we're moving with Tap Monsters, because recently, for instance, some of the bigger, let's say, tap to earn titles had their TGE and all of that. And that just, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of frustration surrounding the tap to earn space. Now, it was previously, of course, just an assumption that most of the people are going to get barely anything or whatever, right? That it's not really rewarding in any sense of the word. So I would like to ask you, Max, how do you feel about this? And what do you think we're going to have to do to avoid a similar experience for our own community?
Yep. So again, we've been watching the space carefully, and from our point of view, this was also questions received like early on. How are you going to handle the distribution, and what are the specific terms that you are using as a basis to do that? And one of the reasons why we did not communicate that yet is that we didn't have all of the factors in game yet. With clans, we just have the basic clans now, but the advanced clans and the battles coming, we then will have pretty much all the factors in that are going to determine the majority of the airdrop. So everything combined across all the leaderboards will be a factor, but over the specifics of how exactly we're going to review our internal plan. We're going to take everything that was happening in this overall space right now and see if there's something that, because I for example, I didn't look at the what was it, hamster combat one yet. I didn't look at this specifically yet, so I can't comment on that too much. But we're going to take a look. We're going to take our time in order to ensure that the distribution and the amount of work and playtime that everyone has put in, will have an effect, and that the process is not we don't want. I mean, we did counter some of the botting already, of course, which you might remember from like 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So all of these things we're taking into consideration. We're taking actions against actors that might try to cheat the system. But yeah, I mean, we designed and we built the game in a way that cheating in general is hard, and the effects of botting in general are fairly limited in general. So yeah, but yeah, it's a process. We are for us, it's like a very important topic because what you guys have been doing, I mean, you've been playing the game for such a long time now. Some of you have been playing Chamos's before, and we hope that everyone would like to get into the main game at some point as well. And we're like, you are our core and our foundation of everything we're building now. So we will take it in consideration, and then we're going to come back to you and say, well, this is our distribution plan, for how to deal with that, and these are the key facts you need to know. So we just need to review and prepare then, basically.
Yeah, I would say again, I've been to a few X spaces as well on the topic, because we also have quite a lot of partners also on the Wombat and Atomic Hub side, right, who are also employing Telegram-based games as a sort of those side experiences. And there has always been this growing concern, even within the industry, that, okay, this is just going to be this sort of the same situation as the early play to earn, where there's a lot of promise, very little output, and it's kind of it's a bit disheartening to see that we as the industry never learn, or people who, I don't know, who just basically come in and swipe everything or everyone that there is, like it happened with Hamster Combat. And they sort of set the precedence for the whole thing, but they haven't taken into consideration how the overall play to earn space evolved. So it's good to, again, confirm and reaffirm that this is not going to be the case with us. That said, I would also like to touch upon, well, another exciting development, right? We have published a brief sort of a news piece on that you guys are now an actual full-fledged studio with your own sort of a structure within Spielworks. You're not just, well, formally not a group of people doing those specific things. There is a certain autonomy and I would suppose change of operations within the team now. What does it mean for you actually, and of course for the community? How does that affect what we'll be able to deliver? How Chain Masters and Tap Masters are going to broadcast itself to the world, and so on.
So yeah, for so the big changes basically, Spielworks. I mean, again, for a little piece of history, like Lysander and I, we pretty much joined Spielworks in May, and brought Thermosys with us, and this was supposed to be the beginning of Spielworks establishing itself as a publisher. And now, since we now, like after I don't know how many months now, like 4 or 5 months basically of working together, making plans with the team, getting to know you, our colleagues now. We have now decided to restructure the operations in a way that that is more, I would say, that is scalable, and that works within many different ventures that Spielworks, that Chamos does, and others might be are supposed to operate in. And what that means is, well, I mean, in our case, I would say nothing too much changed from the operational point of view. There's a little bit more autonomy, I would say, that you just spoke about. But I mean, working inside Spielworks has been, fairly, with like fairly flat hierarchies. There's nothing, you talk to everyone anyway. So there's not really like,
That's
hey,
fair.
this is your boss, say this is someone else, right? So and this is how it's, in my opinion, it's also supposed to work. In general, everyone has some input. Everyone has great ideas. Combining them. Getting everyone's unique point of view, unique feedback, everything plays the biggest role in making a great product for as many people as possible in the end. So on that part, it's pretty much the same. So, but it's more on the a little bit more autonomy. But other than that, we are looking to besides Tap Monsters and Chain Monsters, we are pretty much preparing the company, like Spielworks in itself, for the future. Is what I would say here.
All right. I would also imagine that it removes certain like codependencies that sometimes decide the future of one product or the other, or it's just more freeing in a way, and gives you guys sort of a cleaner slate, no extra noise from all of the other products in the Spielworks suite, so you can just focus on that stuff. um, I'm not sure if it's anything to talk about right now, right? But you already have basically two games, very different ones, right? But definitely belonging to the same universe under the studio wing, so to speak. So, how do you imagine this moving forward? Will you be focusing on expanding the Chain Monsters franchise? Are there going to be more games coming that are maybe entirely different, or just, under different names, brands, or whatever? So, how do you see this moving forward?
I mean, in general, I mean, the Chain Monster space itself has, huge potential. I mean, that's part of the reason why we, got into Spielworks in the
Well, yes.
first place. Yeah. I'm pretty confident in saying that, Tap Monsters, then Chain Monsters, and then because Chain Monsters, of course, like a game as a service game with like a continuously expanding system, this will always, these games will always receive updates. But if the reception, of the community, of our players is great, then sure, we can do additional, maybe even smaller scale standalone experiences within the Chain Monsters universe, basically. But also, I mean, you've been here a little bit longer than me inside of Spielworks, of course. There are a couple of other brands inside Spielworks that we also, of course, want to take a look at. I mean, we've seen Dungeon Master and Dungeon World plannings and everything happening. So those are very likely to be picked up by the games business as well. But also, as a publisher, what we are also looking at is, of course, getting additional games that might already be developed, basically, into this kind of Spielworks ecosystem, to use it for Atomic Cup, for Wombat, for all of our existing systems, because then you get this like true, this like actual true metaverse kind of like experience, where all the games are under the same umbrella, they're all connected, there might be a task in Tap Monsters where you have to do something in an entirely different game, So these are the things we're looking at the moment, and of course everything is super early, and but that's the general direction that I would imagine that we're going to go.
Lovely said. And Cody's also put in the chat, sweet instead of piecemeal organization. I mean, it makes sense where everyone is unable to do their best work that they're exactly there to do, right? But at the same time, sort of connecting things to one another in a sense that bolsters the entire ecosystem. And we've also got some canceled games hopium in the chats. Maybe at some point we'll also get to we'll arrive to the state where we're able to say, you know what, let's get this thing and let's bring this back up. All right. I feel like I've raved on about this whole thing for a very, very long time. So, of course, I would like to give you the stage for our future plans. Obviously, you already mentioned that the engine migration for Tap Monsters, since we were able to progress a bit faster with the new team members on board and whatnot, this I'm assuming is going to, or at least should be, one of the things that comes up relatively sooner than the rest, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, again, I would say from our internal point of view, we have something in mind for launch of this feature, but I would still excuse me to the community and say I'm not going to say it yet, just in case, just in case something. But you will be the first to hear it basically from Olga, from us basically when it arrives. So
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's also going to depend on how the internal tests go. So if,
yeah,
I don't know, I'm gonna break something, unfortunately, Max and the team are gonna have to look into it, because if I do, someone else might, and we don't want that on a prod version. But coming back to the topic, besides that, what else would you say are your priorities for the month ahead? Both, of course, for Chain Monsters and Tap Monsters, because we do have another exciting milestone for the upcoming quarter, Chain Monsters wise.
yeah. So what we're going to do, and we've been teasing it for a long time now, is we're now finally going to release the Shammonsters wiki, the Shammonsters white paper, basically. We've just been reviewing it actually this week again, and just a couple of changes needed, and then I'll pretty much give Olga and the whole marketing team the green light to say, "Hey, press the button, send it out," and then I can already tell you it. Everyone will have so many more questions, especially those who.
Yeah.
And it doesn't actually matter if you're like existing player from back in the day, or if you're like someone new who joined through Tap Monsters. You will read it, and I hope your mind will be a little bit blown, without exaggeration, and then you'll be asking for daily community connects, basically, just to get all of your questions answered. I guess, yeah, it's going to be pretty important.
It
And
is
we're
a
pretty proud of it.
monumental thing. Every time I look at it, I'm like, sheesh. Wow. But okay. The wiki, of course, is going to be an essential part of, everything there is to know about Chain Monsters and Tap Monsters and around, for anyone who's curious about the ecosystem. What else?
Sorry, I was just reading the chat.
Yeah,
Sorry,
no worries, all good. I know that there are some things happening there.
Yeah. Yep.
We'll get to the questions, people. Don't worry.
Let me think. So the wiki stuff. Did you mean something specific for next month?
Well, no, I mean, obviously, two of the biggest things are the engine, then the battles, advanced clan mechanics that you mentioned, the wiki itself, sure. But we're also going to be preparing for the TGE, I'm assuming, since it's been out now, that we're targeting November for that.
Okay, yeah. Well, I mean, so this again will be in going back to the first initial topic where we are looking at what's happened with the other games that utilize the token on Telegram. So Hamster Combat, for example, Cat is in all the big examples.
Yeah.
And we're looking at your feedback, not your feedback, but those communities'
Yeah.
feedbacks to figure it out, and then I'm going to communicate that all pretty much.
All right. Looks like, as you can see, we're gonna have our hands full. You guys are also gonna have your heads full, I suppose, once the week is out, because Max is right in one thing. There are, well, a lot of things to process and sort of kind of connect to one another as you go through it, but we'll try to do our best, at least on my part, I can say, to deliver it uh, in the most concise manner. But all right, people, I have already seen some questions in the chat, and since we're halfway through, Max, how do you feel about moving on to the Q&A part of the stream?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah.
All right. Please post your questions in the chat if you have them. Just a small insertion as well. If you would like to exchange some ideas around anything that you've heard so far, right? We also have tomorrow Max going on Discord to have a chat with you. You can also ask your questions there, of course, but keep in mind that there's an opportunity to actually have an input in what we're doing. Just a quick one, Kev, I will do that behind the scenes, but for the time being, let me pull the first question. Who's designing the monster tokenomics? Can you please have them on to discuss that topic? I'm assuming that this is a joint effort between you and Adrian, but please do correct me if I'm wrong, Max.
Yeah, it's basically like a joint effort, because one thing to consider is it's not just about the token. It's also like 60% about like, well, how is that integrated into the game and into Chain Monsters specifically, you know? I mean, mostly it's also into Tap Monsters, but you'll see. But you know, when it is in my microphone. So when it is in so because as a free-to-play game, you know, you have all the different currencies, all the resources, you know, everything that you gather and you utilize in the game mechanics. And what we wanted to do is with the monster token is to really deeply integrate it as a premium currency, basically. So it has an effect on everything. So we are not just launching another token that is using standardized whatever, you know, tokenomics that are currently proven. It's still it's using both of that. It's combining proven models with the actual deep integration into the Chain Monster games, into the monster games, basically. And this is again, shared collaboration between, for example, Adrian, myself, and some of our advisors, basically. So, yeah, joint effort, many people involved, just to ensure that it's not only, you know, a stable but also a sustainable system eventually.
I mean, I'm assuming that this comes, you know, not out of place to just be, to poke us in the side about this topic, right? But people are actually very, very curious and are excited about the game and the asset that's going to power it. Would you say that we will be, that we're going to arrive to a point where we'll be comfortably talking about everything surrounding the monster tokenomics soon? Is the situation with the tap to earn games as now the only sort of a blocker to it, or could you basically give us maybe an outline on the situation, why there aren't more details on that yet?
On the monster token, you mean?
Yes.
I mean, honestly, it's I'm not sure like what we did. We have been finalizing the details, but in the wiki, like the actual mechanics and stuff, like how the token is interconnected, this has been pretty much finalized already. So once the wiki goes out, you can read all the details. And what I think that we are going to do then, is going to have another, couple of open streams discussions about it, because again, there will be many questions. And even though the wiki is pretty detailed, it's of course not a replacement of like me going into a game design tool and doing like fancy simulations. This is not going to be. This will be more high level. But then I will have the opportunity to openly again talk about it, to discuss with you, and answer any of your questions. So yeah, I would say it's the only let's put dependency on that one. And yeah, since November is pretty much around the corner, yeah, those things are going to be revealed in a timely manner now.
Yeah. There's a follow-up that the concern is only that the initial numbers are going to be way over the top, and then we're going to have to struggle to take them out of the circulation. So I'm assuming you and Adrian did the numbers in a solid way, that it's not, too much of an total supply, or like the emissions are also solid. But people will see this in the wiki.
Yeah, I mean the. Now I see the comment. I was looking at the wrong comment. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
Blah blah blah. Yeah. No, it's like the monster token is fairly unique in that sense, in the way it works compared to other existing Spoolworks tokens, I would say. And
that was
yeah.
a different question entirely, but maybe as a recurring topic in all of our streams, we've got a question from Lusitano. So if people, for instance, buy any of the Chain Monsters Legacy NFTs now, how is that going to be handled for the upcoming game?
Yeah, so just to reiterate, any existing NFT in the system will be migrated to the new system when the game launches. So yeah, you will have the opportunity to use them. There will be some NFTs might receive like minor changes, but this is something that we did in the past when we switched from Flow blockchain to Immutable, and in terms of the land NFT specifically, because in this sense we migrated them over. Everything was the same, but they had actually added and enhanced functionality to them, which was also reflected in the metadata. And in here, we're taking the exact same approach, because we've been reviewing all the existing assets going back to pretty much 2017, 18. When the Kickstarter. Let's put it this way. So. Because it's yeah, it's a lot, but of course it's the foundation that made all of this possible the last couple of years. And so we've reviewed the each individual NFT, each type of NFT, and we if we modified them in a way that are now more suitable to the new vision and new gameplay, basically. So in a positive sense, never in a negative sense. Yeah.
I hope that answered your question, Lusitano. I'm assuming that this is also something that you saw and partially touched upon, Max, but just to reiterate, in the connection to, as you mentioned, other Spielwars tokens, since we're merging Woman and Was, do you see Play replacing the monster token? Or like, what are the roles of the two? Why are we still... why do we still want to have the monster token in the first place if we're consolidating the overall Spielworks ecosystem? So what would your take on that be?
So yeah, I saw the comment. It's sorry, my my voice a little bit. So basically, we saw the comment. So yeah, so the Play token again is combining Woster and Wombat, two very different and unique systems that are detached from like the Chain Monsters universe, as well as other games, that also have their own token. And so for us, the play token and the monster token fulfill two very different use cases. So one token, again, the monster token, is completely aligned with all of the games, not only Chambers and Tap Monsters, but also anything in the future that we develop inside the monster universe, which is deeply integrated into the game and the mechanics. So when you are looking at like how to earn the monster token, for example, how to spend it, what the effects of governance will be on the monster token. So this
Mm-hmm.
is a hyper specific token for the monster universe and anything that is attached to it, basically. And then you have the play token on the other hand, which is of course driving the AI focus of Spielbergs in general. So what you will actually end up doing is you have an individual game like Chain Monsters or the Chain Monsters universe, which is handling everything through the monster token. But then, because we are still going to access features and services that are part of overall Spielbergs of the Play Mind network, basically.
Yep.
They're also going to be interactions between them through the Play token. So it's going to be a system that is on one hand very unique and very specific for each individual use case, which is monster token. And then you have this overall more generic AI network, which Chamosers will use to some extent, but it's not the main token, and we can't do all the things that we need to do or want to do with the monster token that the play token would offer. So it's just two different systems. One is more specific, the other is supposed to support multiple games through additional experiences and features, basically.
Yeah, I don't know if this makes sense in your head, but I just had this sort of an analogy pop up in mine, where you basically, if you are a, let's say, a creator, right, and you need to use certain creative assets, or buy them sometimes, right? So you effectively pay for the internet, right, to be able to access those portals, but then within each and every creative portal, I just don't want to start dropping names, right? But you also have some sort of a credits system, right? So paying for the internet is more of like an overarching infrastructure thing, whatever. And then there are hyper focused uses for
Yep.
every single portal that you want to access. But okay, good. Moving on. I'm not sure how much of the cooperation or like dialogue is happening between the dungeon master team and you guys, but has there ever been consideration to giving utility to the legacy chain monsters NFTs in DM?
I mean, we had talks, of course, between the teams, and when we talk about, well, there are discussions, of course, especially with the game studio now,
Mm-hmm.
across the board with all the projects of Spielworks, but I'm not. I'll just leave it at that. I'm not going to tease anything there. So, but in general, I don't think we have any like specific plans for integration yet. It's on our list to evaluate, basically, right? And if there is, then you will be updated on it, yeah, as soon as possible. Because in general, this is part of what I described earlier. All the games inside of Spielworks and even some outside will be connected. And NFTs, again, as part of the cross-platform interoperability effort, would be
Mm-hmm.
really nice to see. Yeah.
Yeah, I do agree. I mean, generally speaking, would be, I would say, a sensible move, especially ahead of, let's say, closed beta, public beta launch, to give the NFTs a little bit more visibility and overall trading volume, as well, via the DM utility. But we'll see. We'll see. Next question from iBro. When is the Chain Monsters planned to be playable? Have there ever been any sort of dramatic updates to our plan on that?
I think from my point of view, again, same, unfortunately, similar response to the last time.
Hmm.
We are going to spend as much time, but similar to as less as possible before you will be able to get the first version to try out.
Yep.
But at the moment, we are more focused on some of the upcoming core game mechanics to flesh them out. And once those are like in a state where we say, well, you're now able to go in and we want to test this specific feature, so we're going to invite you to play, basically, right? In more like singular instances, then we will let you know. But at the moment, I'm not able to give you like a final date yet, basically.
All right. Um, we also have another token related question. I mean, that's also something probably that's also something that will be addressed in the overall white paper this week, not the Chain
Yeah,
Monsters wiki, the whole
yeah, right. It
Spielworks
is
thing. That's also,
and
yeah,
and,
coming
and,
up.
Olga, this is one of the things, right? Like, I don't have to be too much involved
Yeah.
in that. This is part of the now new structure where we are able to focus and dedicate more time on specific things. So I remember it some in my head, but yeah.
There
So
was something, yeah. Right.
yeah, exactly.
Define the dollar, but to answer your question, will there be swap pool set for Monster? That's generally the whole kind of design for play utility, that it also works as a liquidity driver. So on dexes, you will have pools set against any of the other token in the Spielworks ecosystem. Whether it's going to happen like right upon the Monster TGE, I cannot say yet. Quite possibly that it may happen within a few hours' time, right? But that's generally the idea, that whatever else we have launching for the separate games or within the, I don't know, well, it's not going to be the Monster universe, but anything that the studio is going to take care of, basically, that this asset has a pool on the decks against play token. So there you have it. I'm gonna quickly just go back to Bob. Yes, Bob, your question was answered. That was also coincidentally about play. This is not, well, again, in our analogy, play is paying for the internet, and Monster is this hyper focused using the credits or doing a subscription for Netflix sort of a thing. The Prime experience is getting both, right? But they are, all in all, they're targeting different, very particular needs, I would say. Okay. Rising Dragons. Another heartbreaking question. Where is Lysander? Everything we have from them for today is, unfortunately, the fantastic background. We would very much rather have Lysander with us too. But they came down with some really awful cold, I'm assuming. I don't know. There is some stuff going around Germany right now. It's crazy. People calling sick left and right. Awful. Well, it wouldn't be our stream if we didn't have any sort of nonsensical questions, right? Prince Paradox is asking if Daku is getting a Christmas skin.
We did actually have a Christmas theme and some Christmas themed artwork in at the end of 2022. I need to check with Lysander if we like where we put it, basically, because I think it looked pretty cool. I'm not sure if it was Daco, but if it wasn't Daco, then we'll make it into Daco for sure. But yeah. I need to see. I think we had something,
Well, there you have it. I'm still seeing a few people in the chat saying that something's not working. Please don't panic. It's just the EOS nodes. We're preparing for the hard fork. It's all good. It's all being addressed. Um, that's why Max is amazing. Of course, of course. No questions about that. But I would want to ask you one other thing, and that's sort of, well, maybe on the game design side, maybe on the overall kind of player game interaction, right? Because since we're already going to have a lot, well, 2 tokens, right? And since people have been asking around the lands, the crafting, and all those mechanics that are still going to be part of the game, right? Um, are we going to reassess at any point if some things are too much or not? Because, as you said, even looking at the wiki, people will have myriads of questions, maybe potentially, possibly feeling overwhelmed. So, just curious to hear your thoughts on, are any parts of that going to be reviewed, or we chose this hill where people are getting a truckload of things and we're gonna die on that one.
So when we release the wiki, you will of course still have a disclaimer that's pretty like along the lines of, well, everything is subject to change, because game development is a pretty fluid process. You can only
That is
plan so
true.
many months and sometimes in some cases even like a year like ahead. But with technology changing, especially in the blockchain space, as we are all aware here, things not always go according to plan. And what we want to do and what we want to focus on, so we want to give you our master plan, our master like white paper, as a basis. Then we're going to get your feedback and your impressions, and anything you feel like is super cool, or you have something that you feel needs clarification. And with the ongoing developments of the game, we will then check, reiterate, and review what we've done so far on the game side, and use that as a continuous open discussion. And when the monster token launches, your kind of like feedback will actually be put into like a governance model where you can actually also even more impact on have a say basically on the development. So but of course everyone is always able to raise their voices, lift your feedback, and but we will have like a gamified way to make this process as close to make this whole development process as close to you, our players, as possible, basically. So I would say get your hands on the wiki very soon and ask questions. Let us know exactly what you feel like, and we're going to look at it, we'll review it, and then discuss together, basically.
Well said. I mean, I can already, I already have my imagination running that we're going to have, if it's gamified, then probably as some sort of a effort by N Corp to appear as a democratic force to work towards the betterment of the whole country, and giving some of coincidentally their representatives who have worked hard in the labs the deciding power.
Well, I mean, who is voting the how's voting the NCOP board of directors into power?
For instance,
Who is doing that?
who's doing that exactly?
What kind of decisions are they going to make? Are they going to make decisions that are good for everyone? Are some people going to join together and are going to race against Encore? We will see, you know.
There you have it. So again, I'm not sure how much of that is going to be revealed in the wiki itself. If we want to go more into detail and whatnot, but I also love the fact that basically those decisions, whatever we want to do around the game, it's also somehow tied to the lore. Like, I don't know how others in the chat are feeling about this, but to me, it's just it just always shows a lot of love for the game that you create when you're trying to sort of deliver this holistic experience. But maybe it's just me. I don't know. Or was it was it always part of the design to tailor it to what's happening within the game?
I mean, like when we think about like a traditional project in crypto where they have like some sort of governance feature, it appeared to be fairly boring. I mean, yes,
Yeah,
I mean, the promise of having impact, of being able to vote on decisions, right? It's like yeah, I mean, these are things that are still having an impact, but in our case, we just wanted to go another step, as you said, integrating it deeply into the lore and looking at it what's possible if we take all the advancements we did in technology, basically, and combining that with like a project that is making use of crypto and blockchain in a sense that actually has value and actually puts like a real use case, for those things up, because you can have, of course, clans, you can have like governance systems, even complex ones in traditional gameplay systems, but here, because everything is tied into the tokens and into the NFTs and everything, it really tries to showcase what's possible and what people are missing out on if they, for example, don't want to participate there. So there are a couple of reasons, but yeah, I think it's going to be a really awesome way to deal with governance inside the context of an actual game and evolving world.
I would say so too. I mean, people are already picking sides. Some want to be with the rebels, some want to be secret agents and whatnot. So we'll see. I mean, I do remember Lysander distinctly saying that there aren't really good or bad guys in the Chain Monsters universe. It's like everyone is in this gray area where they might believe in something very, very firmly, but they don't really go about how they do things in this sort of a black and white way.
I mean, after all, we always go in cycles, or so
Fair.
you started as a good guy, but only until you become the villain. So it's like it's a process, it's a wheel. Technically, we don't know, because we are not going to be the community that's going to drive this whole system. So it's going to be really exciting, almost like an experiment.
I see. That's interesting. If we are actually tying, or how to put it, if we involuntarily push people in one way or another, alignment-wise, via the governance tool and whatnot, that's that's pretty interesting. I don't know. See, we already have the campaigning going around in the chat. If I get to the top, I will lower the crafting costs.
I mean, exactly. Those kind of things. They have an effect. They have impact on all players, even those who do not participate in the governance. They do not have a token. Maybe they're not even crypto users at all, but they will learn, that the governance, since it's so deeply integrated, it will actually have an effect on everyone. And of course, we're designing it in a way that no matter what decision you make, it will have upside on one side, but down some benefits here, but some not so
Drawbacks.
optimal
Yeah.
drawbacks on the other side. So it's always like making sure that it's like that the scale of power is aligned with the community. And again, maybe some people decide, hey, I want to overtake them and get back into power. So that's going to be a fairly interesting process.
Yeah, that actually inspires my own question, because you mentioned already that on the Tab Monsters front, we're doing, in our humble opinion, an okay job in terms of, anti-botting efforts and whatnot. Are we going to have something similar in place in Chain Monsters to avoid this specific scenario? Or, if people want to become a tyrant, let them, whatever. So what's
So in general, of course, all the systems are designed and built in a way that you cannot really cheat, especially in the game, in the core gameplay. And the complexity. And yes, of course, if you look at like World of Warcraft or other like MMOs, yes, you will always have bots, and we're always going to fight against them. But this is something that you also, counter with smart game design decisions. And of course, at some point, you have to see, well, is it worth the effort? Are the downsides, drawbacks for the real, true players actually an
yeah,
issue there? So it's like always like a conflict there. But yeah, I think we've done a great job on tackling this from a especially tactical perspective for now. And again, on the social and community aspects, especially with the governance in mind, there will be balanced mechanics to counter even, because I wouldn't like if someone gets into power on the
yeah,
governance side, right? Then they were able to do that through the built-in mechanics, but then there will also be other mechanics to counter if the opinion after a couple of weeks or so changes about this kind of like leading or those kind of like leaders basically. So we will take care of that, and it's going to be an interesting journey for sure with the governance itself. Just another standalone
yeah.
experience that is part of Time Monsters. Yeah. I mean, not in the sense of like an whatever app, but like just as a system, as a gameplay system. Yeah.
Yeah, no, of course. I imagine that there already is a lot of kind of thought and design effort put into this, but I am very much curious to see that, because so far in terms of the governance, really, what I see that is that games seem to gravitate towards, I don't know, fees size or some material drop rates, or stuff like that, that is definitely impactful, right? um but it's maybe not necessarily that deeply tied to the game lore itself or anything of the sort. So really, really curious to see how we are going to embody this concept. With that said, I don't think that we are going to have any more questions. I already responded in the chat to Cody Gaines, but maybe just to reiterate, we will have the overall white paper out this week. And Wiki, would you say it's going to be in the ready state before the end of the month, or in your opinion, is it like 90% ready, 80% ready?
I mean, I would say it's like 90% ready. And some people say, well, the last 10 or 20% take like 80% of the time. To because all the polishment and stuff. But I mean, we did most of the polishment, and now we just spotted a couple of individual cases that we wanted to revisit, edit, and yeah, that's it. I mean, and if you talk about end of the month, then I mean, we pretty much on the last week of September.
Yeah.
I would be I wouldn't assume by this week, but yeah, probably very soon after. So potentially next week. Yeah.
Yeah. We would also go, well, I can only speak for my team. We would also go absolutely insane pushing out both on the
Yeah.
same week. So just to space things out, even them out, spread them, and then it's all gonna be good. All right. Well, I know that maybe from sort of the number of things, quote unquote, it doesn't feel like this is going to be an exciting month ahead of us, but I would wager the complete opposite because with the engine coming to tap monsters, we will be able to sort of develop more things for the game and push them forward a lot faster. And also, just the work on that is going to be more pleasant, I'm assuming, and less training on the team. We are also eagerly awaiting your feedback on when it's going to be out, how it feels, how it looks, and of course, with battles coming, I'm assuming either along with the engine or soon after.
Yeah, I
Or
mean, the battles are still the very first thing we are going to launch. Yeah, shortly after the new engine update. Yep.
well, there you have it. It's going to be a lot of work ahead of us, and of course, preparing to the TGE as well. With that said, I thank everybody wholeheartedly for joining us today. If you either just joined recently or moved some part of missed some parts of the stream, don't worry. We're gonna have the VOD. We're gonna have the text summary, of course, and for now, we will need to choose our streaming victim, and I will need to let Max go. But thank you, Max, again for your time. Thanks everybody for watching, for asking your questions. And don't forget, if you already have some suggestions or if you would like to discuss something in greater detail, Max is going to be on the Chain Monsters Discord tomorrow to have a chat with you, exchange some ideas, and of course, take your feedback on everything that's been happening in the Monsters universe so far. Take care, everybody. Thank you, Max, once again. And
Thank
we're
you,
just
Ithil.
gonna take a quick minute to rate somebody. Bye bye, Max. Enjoy the rest of
Bye.
your evening. And you're gonna be stuck with me for a couple more minutes. If you have any rating suggestions, then by all means. Walk the Grid says Atomic needs love. Definitely. I agree with you wholeheartedly and 100%. It's, well, I am not the tech person, right? But what happened with the memory leak on goodness me, on one of the nodes is that's insane, just how much of the stuff it broke along the way. So my suggestion, a humble suggestion, we can either join Quadrell's art for Warsaken. There is Q-Flux playing Parallel. There's an NFT dealer playing Illuvium. But if you have any other suggestions, I don't know. Let's say hello to our guy Q-Flux. I think we haven't rated him for a while. At least I haven't. With that said, it was good to see everybody in the chat. Lovely community connect as always. And of course, you will have the VOD and the summary of that in the next coming few days, along with the white paper. Take care. As I always say, stay plain and slain, and say hello to Q-Flux from me.